Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we also love talking about the magic of Christmas. We're honored to be joined by M.Alexander. She's an Emmy-nominated national host, author, speaker, actress, the owner of M.Alexander Productions, and so much more. Megan, how are you doing?
Hey, Jeremy, good to see you. Happy holidays.
Absolutely. And that is the perfect theme for this interview, this conversation. But let's start with a little bit of your backstory, because you are all over the place in terms of national football games, TV. I mean, you get to go and cover all these amazing experiences. So give us a little bit of just how you got into this world of media.
Oh, yeah. Well, since I was a little girl, I've loved to perform. It was singing in the church choir growing up. It was acting in, school plays. I just love to create. And so I knew I wanted to do something in this industry. I love collaboration, working on a team, formulating a script and then seeing it come to life. So I just wanted to do something in this industry. To be perfectly honest, Jeremy, I think my parents hoped I would outgrow that and go to law school or something a little more sensible. But, I always tell people, follow your dreams, follow your passions, because then work really is fun. And I still love getting up in the morning and going to work and creating in this business. So I'm blessed that I've been able to make a living at it. And it's just fun. Every day is a joy.
What does Christmas mean to you and your family? Let's start with your family growing up, and then we'll talk about your family now. But what does Christmas mean to you and your family growing up?
Yeah, well, my parents always made it special. I grew up in a small town outside of Seattle, Washington called Edmonds. And, we had the small enough experience that you would bump into people on Main Street during the holidays. We had the little local tree lighting. And my parents just really made an effort to bring it to life. The main reason for the season, I'm a spiritual person. And so Jesus' birth, church was and is a big part of my life. Christmas Eve service, late at night. I just love that Christmas time is an opportunity for us to slow down, be a little bit kinder, be a little bit nicer. It's the one time of year when adults are given permission to be kids and to be silly and fun and go all in. So I just really enjoy the fellowship that comes with Christmas time. And a lot of that's my parents and my grandma and, all the Christmas cookies that she made. Those memories are wonderful. And I'm grateful that I got to have that experience. I think no matter what, though, you can find that in life, right? If you really seek it out, you can find that in friendships or neighbors. It's there for the taking.
Well, and you mentioned the small town charm. You also mentioned Christmas cookies. And so give me a tradition, or when you talk about for you being a mother now and wife, what's a tradition that you've carried over, or what does Christmas mean for you and your family now?
Yeah, well, I got to give credit where credit is due. My friend, Michael Poole, his family does a flashlight Easter egg hunt. They invited us many years ago in Franklin. He puts Easter eggs all over the yard, and the kids get out the flashlights when it gets dark and they hunt for the eggs. And a couple of years ago, I said to my husband, this would be so great as a candy cane flashlight hunt around the holidays. So that's a tradition we started at our house. We invite the neighborhood, we invite our friends, we scatter candy canes around the backyard. A few have a $10 bill wrapped around them, something special. And the kids just love it. They go and hunt down the candy canes, and then we have fun and we have a party. But it's also an opportunity to say, hey, why do we have candy canes at Christmas? There's a religious reason. That represents the staff that the shepherds in the field were using, as the angels, appeared to them and they eventually learned about Christ's birth. So I love teaching kids all of those little things that have religious undertones and historical significance. So that's one of my favorite things to do is our candy cane flashlight hunt.
Yeah, very cool. We might have to borrow that one ourselves.
You should. It's so fun.
So what led you to launch the TV show? We'll start with the TV show and then we'll talk about the book, but Small Town Christmas, because you're a storyteller, you like the research, you've got all these elements. We mentioned the small town feel and the nostalgia, but also just what that means. So what led you to launch the TV show?
Yeah. So my family and I, we love to travel. My husband, Brian, and I have lived all over the country. Born and raised in Seattle. I went to college in California. I worked in San Antonio, Texas. We were in New York City for several years before we came back to Nashville. And so wherever we've lived, we love to travel during the holidays and see what small towns do. You know, what's their spin on the local Christmas parade? Go to the local bakery and see what the Christmas cookie is. I just personally love that with my families. And then during COVID, when we all had to go inside and shut the doors and we weren't encouraged to travel, I said to my husband, this would be such a great TV show. There are so many incredible small towns in America, and our small businesses are hurting. They're gonna need the exposure when we come out of this thing. We all saw those stories of family businesses shutting down after how many years because of COVID. So the idea started bubbling, and the minute that I could, I put it together and I pitched it around. That's the term for sending out your project and seeing if you get any takers on it. And Up TV said, we love this concept. Let's do this. And so season 1, I chose 4 small towns. I do all the research myself, Jeremy. It's so much fun to pick up the phone and make that first phone call. Often for me, it's the mayor, because in a small town, the mayor is very accessible and he picks up the phone. I love that first phone call and saying, hey, we're thinking about coming to town and featuring your town. And always, I mean, we're getting ready to do season 2 now with 4 fresh new cities, but they always say, oh my gosh, you've got to talk to Joe at the local Christmas tree farm. Sherry's Bakery would be a person to talk to. Father Welcome over at the local Catholic church would be a wonderful person for you to feature. It's so easy to piece it all together because that's why we love small towns. Camaraderie, friendship. They want to promote each other's businesses because they know they need to survive. And so it's a real joy and a privilege to tell these stories. And there's just so many unique things that have come out. I'll just give you one, Jeremy. For season 1, we featured Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is a couple hours outside Baton Rouge. And I had no idea that there was a book called The Cajun Night Before Christmas. And down in Louisiana, Santa is called Papa Noel. He wears rain slicker boots. He gets in the river with a canoe and alligators pulling his canoe to deliver all the Christmas presents. Who knew? So we featured him on our show. I love the different spins that all of our towns have across the country. It's a delight. One more, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania was featured in season 1, the Christmas city. And in Bethlehem, they still have the only live Advent in the country, where local businesses, you knock on the door for 12 days during the holiday season, and they answer and they give out some type of a free treat or a free product from their business to the town. That's their way of advertising, but it's also celebrating the Christmas season. So really neat elements that I never knew existed, and I've gotten that reaction from a lot of people that watch. They say, we had no idea they did that in that town. So it's very fun for me personally to do the research and then bring it to life.
Well, and as you're talking, it's showcasing the cities and the tourism, obviously, that then I would imagine follows. Talk about, though, the mental side, the structure of putting together a show, because when you talk about TV shows, there's consistency around what the audience expects, but there's also then the hidden gems and the surprises that you want to make sure are in there. So talk about kind of the perfect balance of what makes a good show and what you're looking for with those storylines.
Yeah. Well, very much the unique factor is a big draw. For season 2, we are headed to Frostburg, Maryland, and they are a small town that has something called the Elf Olympics. And the local college, the students all volunteer to put on these Elf Olympics around town, and it's all benefiting charity. That's another thing, Jeremy, that I'm so deeply inspired by is a lot of these small towns, they know they have little manpower, so people volunteer. A lot of these Christmas activities are volunteer run and driven. And it's people just wanting to support each other and give back, and just because they really enjoy it. So that is just so neat to highlight, and just to remind us that there's so many good people out there that just really love to support their neighbors and their brothers and sisters. And then for the criteria, I mean, it's really, we try to cover all parts of the country. So for season 2, we are, we're in Tennessee. We cover Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. We go south and cover Ellijay, Georgia. We go up north for Frostburg, Maryland. And then we go way up north in the Northwest to North Pole, Alaska, which is a tiny, tiny town 20 minutes outside of Fairbanks, Alaska. I just checked the weather, and as you and I are chatting right now, it is 10 degrees below zero right now in North Pole, Alaska. So that'll be a very authentic Christmas experience and a feature on Small Town Christmas. But yeah, there's, again, it's the camaraderie, it's the small businesses, it's locations, trying to feature, all over the country. Logistics are a big part of it because I have to beg these people to decorate early. A lot of them decorate in November when the episode airs in December. So there's some begging involved with putting up the Christmas tree a little early, but I find most of them are thrilled to do it.
So where can we watch the show?
Yeah, so the show is on Up TV. That is a cable channel. You can get it from your local provider. You can get it through the Philo app. Probably the easiest way is to go to uptv.com, plug in your zip code, and you can find, how to watch it. Season 1 is going to be re-airing on the Up Faith and Family app, so exclusively through the app, and you can find it there. And our kickoff episode for season 2 is November 20th. We're going to Ellijay, Georgia for our Harvest special, and then Sunday nights in December, 9/8 Central on Up TV, you'll catch all of the Small Town Christmas season 2 episodes.
Nice. Well, let's switch over and talk about the book. And so the book is The Magic of a Small Town Christmas. And so talk about what led you to write the book.
Yeah, well, again, all of these projects that I'm involved in of late, Jeremy, I really want my next chapter to be filling the world with uplifting, positive content. I've been in this industry now for almost 20 years. And as a mother of 3 small kids, like so many people, I often struggle to find TV shows and movies that I can watch with my kids that match up with my faith and values, books that we can all read together as a family. And so I think there comes a point in life where you say, I can sit around and complain, or I can do something about it. And so part of that is starting my own production company and launching this Christmas show. But then for me, it was also writing a Christmas book. And so I approached Simon & Schuster with the concept, and I said, hey, I'd love to put all of the elements of these small towns that we visited into one imaginary town, and we named it Heartbeat Falls. And it's all those elements that you see in our small towns brought to life, whether it's, again, the local bakery, the tree farm, the ice skating rink, but most importantly, it's the people. It's the family and friends that gather and make these memories come to life. So a shout out to my illustrator, Hiroe Nakata, illustrated it. She lives in Japan. I've never met her, Jeremy. We have communicated. This is the second book that we have worked on together. The other one's called One More Hug that she did with me a couple of years ago. But I'm so blessed that she was able to illustrate the book and bring it all to life. She is so talented, and it's just a fun read with your kids. And again, it's just my hope that, maybe after reading the book as a family, people will say, what are our traditions? Or maybe there's a tradition we could start in our family. So yeah, it's my gift back to the world with positive content.
And I think, to me, that's an important piece, as you mentioned. Well, a couple of things. One is being a part of the solution, saying, hey, you know what? I want to use my talents, and I want to be a part of the solution. And then 2 is, how can I bring family together, celebrate and create new traditions, but do it around a gathering of love and tied to Christmas? And so you kind of answered the question already, but when you talk about the takeaways, family time, faith and values, relationships, the power of Christmas, the magic of Christmas, what's one more takeaway that you hope people and families, and especially the children, take away from the book?
Yeah, I think it's lead by example. Again, in conversations with my kids and with my friends, I've had many discussions where we've said, okay, how can we model for our kids what we want to instill in them? It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to say, hey, this is mommy's job. This is what mommy's doing. She's traveling to these towns to celebrate Christmas and all the traditions, to promote local business. So I'm trying to put into action that for my kids. And also, with the book, it's saying, hey, this means a lot to me. I'm putting in the time and the effort to create this book. That's what, I want to encourage my kids and anybody else's kids in life, is to look at your job as an opportunity to serve others and to give back. So I hope that's what it is, Jeremy. I'm trying to do that again with my different projects, is just be a part of the positivity in our world, right? And just give back in some small way, and hopefully inspire others to do the same. I mean, I would love it if other people would also fill the space with positive, uplifting products and stories. We certainly have a need for it.
Absolutely. That's why we're so excited to have you on the show. When you talk about the mission to power the good, you exemplify that at every level. And so it's absolutely awesome. We mentioned where to watch the show. Talk about where to get the book.
Yes. Yeah. So Up TV for the show. And then the book is on Amazon, one of the biggest sellers for all of us, right? Go to Amazon, but it's also available Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, and a lot of local independent bookstores. Jeremy, that was important to me too. So in a lot of our small towns, I develop relationships with the local bookstore and say, hey, can I donate some books to a local charity, or what's some way that I could support you? So if you go to my website, M.Alexander.com, we list the different bookstores that I'm going to around the country and ways to support them, because again, they need our love, right? They need our love and attention coming off of COVID. So MeganAlexander.com for most of the info.
And on that end, go ahead and say it again, because you never can say it enough in the media world, but mention again your website, social media, where can we follow your efforts? And also too, for you, when you talk about public speaking and going out and sharing this message and inspiring others, how can we reach out and make those connections?
Oh, thank you so much. I love to engage with people on social media. I've made some really neat relationships there and can support other Christmas vendors. It's so much fun to do those collaborations. So find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Again, it's Megan Alexander, of course, on my website, meganalexander.com. And one more thing, Jeremy, in the spirit of promoting local businesses, Up TV is also featuring some of the elements on these shows on their website. So for example, if we feature Aunt Bessie's caramel cake in the Small Town Christmas Ella Georgia episode, we actually post that recipe on the website too. So a lot of different ways to get involved in the community there.
Well, absolutely love what you're doing. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Megan.
Thanks, Jeremy. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.